God blessed us.
Yeah.
God
Well,
bless us to get us there. Okay.
yeah, I feel the same way. And I didn't, I don't think I had one drink that day until I got home. But yeah, we saw all the beauty and all the splendor, but boy, the road was a little bit terrifying. And we witnessed, we came on a accident scene right on our way
Oh,
back. And I wasn't surprised to see that because the road is very challenging.
very challenging. And it takes a lot of focus. I
Yes.
did it later with the family, and we made it about three-quarters of the way, then went back because the kids were getting restless. So, but yeah, once you get to Hana, that's a beautiful, beautiful place.
We visited that one. It's a real nice, like a resort there, hotel and a golf course, and
Uh-huh.
we went and visited that. There's an art gallery there, and we walked in, and it was nice air conditioning, and there was this beautiful Hawaiian woman managing the place, and I can say that because my wife said, "Wasn't she beautiful?" And I said,
Yeah.
"Well, yes, I guess so." You know,
Yeah.
but uh, and we were in there for about half an hour looking at all kinds of beautiful artwork and everything from jewelry to paintings to sculpture
Oh,
and uh,
nice.
and the whole time we were there, not another person walked in.
Yeah, there's not a lot of traffic there in Hana.
No, no.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I thank you for asking, and we were so blessed uh, by by Hana and the aloha spirit and the
Yeah.
music. The music is haunting. I quickly while we were there, I downloaded Pandora and I found different Hawaiian music like the one's called Hawaiian Barbecue, and
Uh-huh.
it's like a mix of different Hawaiian music and
Right.
just incredible, incredible.
Yeah, and they're great people, and yeah, Maui is just a pretty spectacular place. So
Yes,
all of Hawaii is. Yeah.
yes. So, but thank you for asking.
Oh, you're welcome.
Jim, I guess I should do a small intro. Again, I'm Tim Engel. This is Jim Meehan.
Mhm.
Jim is an entrepreneur, inventor, uh, and we have done a previous video together, and we started to have a discussion a few days ago. But I was in the midst of a funeral, a wedding, recovering from Maui, getting a new refrigerator. It's been crazy lately in my household, and I know we are all experiencing a lot of things. But Jim gave me a call and started to talk about his daughter and talk about her journey and talking about young men and women in our country and having the opportunity to become entrepreneurs, get involved in manufacturing, those kinds of things. And Jim, I'm sorry I cut you off a few days ago, but it's great that we're able to get together and do another
Yeah.
recording because uh, as Dr. Shukla said last night in his class, there's so much opportunity out there, and we're just hoping and praying that the kids today, I say kids, I only mean that in a great way, will
Hmm.
be excited about getting involved in the kind of thing that you and I have been. So with that, I'll turn it over to you.
Well, right. Yeah, as a conversation evolved the other night, it was my daughter who studied industrial design in college, and as she's been kind of working on her own for a good part of the time since then. But
Yeah,
she recently started working with a large company. She actually started with them before COVID, and then she was the last one on, so she was the first one laid off. But then once things got back on track, they asked her to come back, and she did. And it's been good for her. But what she was noticing in the conversation we had, she naturally when she's gone from assistant program manager to program manager, and what they do is they furnish and install cabinets in large office buildings where new clients take over. Could be one floor, could be multiple floors, and so her company buys the furniture, has it delivered, sets it up per the customer's wishes. So she's detailing everything that needs to be done, and she's, because she worked on her own, she's used to detailing everything very precisely. And so when she turned in her report, people were amazed at the detail, and she didn't think it was anything special. It was just the way she did things. So I guess the point would be that understanding projects start to finish, inside and out, is critical. And it for people that do that and can see things that could happen, or and prepare for those things, it is highly valued. And so that's something that new students should think about. I mean, it's just as you take on a project, try to think of all the different aspects. Don't overdo it, because you don't want to go into analysis paralysis, but
Yes.
you want to be able to take care of anything that might pop up. So you have to kind of look through the project to the finish side of it, and then all of the peripheral things that go on to make sure that you're prepared for whatever happens. And if you can succeed at that, I think it would help get involved with some good large projects. So it's just a matter of habit, that you look for whatever possibility could happen, and then also look for benefits. Look for things that would amplify, or would make the project more complete. So basically, go, just research and really understand what project you're doing, what you're getting into, and all aspects of how it could turn out.
Right. And yeah, and one thing that we talked about last night a little bit was they asked me for advice, and one of the things I said was stay hungry and humble. And one of the students said, I work with a bunch of people that are experts at a certain thing, and
Mm-hmm.
he said, I'm in charge of them, but I feel intimidated because they're experts. And I said, well, I mean, just be transparent with them, be upfront and say, you know what, I have a job to do. I'm the leader of this team, but I don't understand everything that you do. And sit down, maybe take one of them aside and say, can you explain this to me? Can you describe what it is you do? What's your expertise? And I did that with inspectors, and they taught me about how they inspect, whether it was crawling through the bilge or going through the cargo of the airplane and making sure everything was tight. But I mean, so you don't have to be a mechanical engineer or a chemical engineer and still be a good leader or a good project manager
Mm-hmm.
or a good scheduler or a good as you are, a business owner, entrepreneur. But you have to be willing to reach out to people and say, hey, you know what? I'm Tim Engel. I have this business, and I don't understand how it is you get those shelves to be adjustable or whatever it is.
Right.
And usually people will help you if you
Yeah.
approach them with the right attitude. You can't lord things over them. You can't act like I'm the big shot and you guys work for me, right? I mean,
Right.
you've built good teams. You're a successful businessman. Would you
Right.
agree with that?
Yeah. People that have well, that if they would be in the expert category, like to share their information, and
Yes.
they like when people come to them and say, I would love to know more about what you do and how you do it, and and uh, and just pay attention, because you'll learn some great things from people like that. There's
Yes.
occasionally people that don't want to share, and they'll say, "Well, I had to figure it out myself. Then you can figure it out yourself." But
Yeah.
that there's
Yeah. There
less
are
and
some
less
of
of
those.
that. There was more of that when we were growing up. Now
Yeah.
there's more people that want to share and guide younger people into understanding how to do things the most efficient and successful way.
Yeah. Well, you know, one of the guys last night, he works for the city of Newport Beach, and
Hmm.
he's I believe he was a manager of some kind, and he was looking for more economical ways to complete inspections on construction projects. And so I told him, I said, we went through something like that on the C-17 program. We started the program and we had, 100,000 inspection points. And by the end, we only had about 10,000. So we came way down, like roughly 90% of inspection
That's
points.
great.
And I told him, I said, but the way we did it in an intelligent way, and we did what we call risk analysis. And we said, well, if I'm looking at a certain piece of the airplane in the early stages of production, can I not also see that later on in the production line? And if I can, and I can safely look at it before it's closed up and it's hidden, then I'm gonna eliminate this inspection point here and add it on down here later in
Hmm.
the assembly process. And I said, the way we did it, we went area by area, or build area by build area, whether it's the
Hmm.
forward, the center, the aft section, the wing, whatever.
Hmm.
And I said, we broke it down and we said, okay, let's look at the inspection points in here. And we did it with an inspector, a quality engineer, a leader, a manager of some sort, or team
Hmm.
leaders. And we went through one by one, and we did it over a period of time. But I said, we made progress, and we didn't risk safety of flight.
Right.
So I said, you could do the same thing with a building. But anyway, that was one example. And I said, we have, a lot of really great technical people, but it was a team effort, and I didn't know it all, but I helped to participate with that, help make it happen. And we had a successful program.
Yeah. Well, that's great. I mean, and the key is team, and
Yes.
a team that works together.
Yes.
When you have that, then there's a lot of things you can do together that would be harder as an individual. So yeah, team is a great thing. A team that collaborates and gets along.
Yes.
It's a great way.
Now, so your daughter studied, did you say industrial design or?
Right, right.
Okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, she graduated with that degree and in Colorado, and then she got involved in making cabinets. She's done a lot of cabinetry, a lot of shelving fixtures, and did really well. And then worked for companies that were difficult to work for, and so she had a unfortunate accident that kind of sidelined her for a little while, but she got back into cabinetry and learned how to operate CNC mill, CNC lathe rather, and
Wow.
so she's learned a lot. But all the things that she's learned through the years uh, have stayed with her, so that she can benefit this company she's working for now. And again,
Right.
so sees things that other people don't because she had her own business and or did other manufacturing or cabinet manufacturing. So that your experience you accumulate can be used different ways as you have different stops along the way. Yeah, so
Yeah.
it's part of it, and she's in her mid to late 30s now, and but that's a lot of experience that she's been able to put into play in other ways.
That's great. One thing that came to mind for me was, and I don't know if it's true with your daughter, but it sounds like she's very devoted and works hard and concentrates and
Hmm.
focuses and shows up and all of that, all those good things. Those are some of the things I was sharing last night with the students. Be there, be on time, show up every day. Unless you're legitimately sick, be there,
Right.
be on time, be ready to work. And it sounds like your daughter is certainly that way. And
Yeah.
sometimes if you just work hard and you have a good attitude, opportunity will arise. You know, I
Right.
and if you have extra education, that's good too. Like your daughter has a good degree, industrial design. Because I went and got an MBA, I was able to teach at a university level. That it didn't mean I was smarter than anybody else, but it meant that I punched that ticket And they
Yeah.
said, well, do you have a master's? I said, yes. And it was from Embry-Riddle, and it was not a technical degree, but it got me through my foot in the door, and I was able to teach for 7 years at Cal State
Right.
Long Beach. But I, you know, so I think over preparing, if you can, is good. Like under commit and over deliver. And I know that's been your adage as you've been able to have your own business and be successful.
Right. You learn how to do that as you go, and sometimes you're forced into it. But as long as you persist and persevere, you learn those things. And it's amazing. There's things that I learned, I figured out 40 years ago that come back. And so
Yes.
all that knowledge stays with you. And whether you know it or not, but you oftentimes have opportunities to tap into that memory and that experience. So yeah, everything as you go through work, you all the experience that you have will benefit you in the long run. You know,
Yeah,
it
it's sort of
stays with you, even though
it's
you don't even realize it, but it's there. The
yeah, it's
experience, the knowledge.
like a cumulative thing, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's in that great computer between our ears. So,
Yeah, I was telling my wife last night, she was in class, and I said, I hope I didn't ramble too much. You know, I said, I remember when I was younger and I had parents or grandparents, and they tell stories, and I go, oh boy, here we go with stories again. And you know, I think it's true. As we get older, we have a lot of these experiences, and we want to share stuff that might be helpful. And so I was sharing some experiences in class, and I asked my wife afterwards. I said, "Gosh, I hope I didn't ramble too much. You know, all these stories, you know, these old stories." And she goes, "No, no, you did fine." And because I would give some examples, you know, and anyway, yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that's
One thing I realized a while back that we are they. So, you know, when everybody says, well, you know, they say, well, we are those people now. We are they. So because of the
that's
accumulated knowledge and experience. So, you know, what we say is based on learning and knowledge. And so hopefully it can benefit younger people. I think it
yes,
does.
that's
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. And you know, I don't take credit for this thing, you know, this technology and us able to record what we're talking about. Um,
Right.
and I was talking to PK last night, and he said he's going to have some students this summer that are, as you say, they're younger and young, bright youngsters who are technically able to work with this stuff, these videos, and edit them and start editing pieces and highlights and things like that that can be shared with kids at Chapman and other universities.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the Manufacturing Engineering Society of Manufacturing Engineering, they showed a lot of interest, and I've started posting the videos on X and LinkedIn and YouTube and so forth,
Mm-hmm.
as well as Facebook, and they're getting some good feedback. And that's just
Okay.
raw. That's just raw. That's not polished and tuned up like these kids can do this summer.
Right.
I think they're interns, is what he was saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just met today a guy that has a shop. Well, I knew him, but he told me about a young uh, guy working with him who is actually a senior in high school, actually junior. He'll be a senior next year. We were talking, and I've always had a hard time finding someone who could do renderings of the products I'm developing, and so I just went over before this and met with him, and he's exactly who I need because he
Wow.
gets it. He understands what I'm doing. Basically, I need to show my product in different um, locations, different settings, so people
Yes.
understand the versatility of it. And so it's just, you know, he's a young guy, uh, wants to learn. He's learning a lot from Henry, my neighbor. But yeah, he just has that desire to learn more. And so I'm looking forward to working with him and seeing what he can do. He showed me some samples of his work, and it's really good. So yeah, young people have the ability, they understand technology better than we do, and can use AI or other programs like 3D rendering, um, and it's almost second nature for them. Where I I also wanted to help me with email setup I wanted to do, and I couldn't. Microsoft was making me crazy last night, so it's good to have the broad knowledge and experience and or access to people that have that. And so it's I think it's a great time, as you said before. I think we're heading into a very especially locally here in Orange County, a very we can even say historic manufacturing time. We're you know, we've lost a lot of work overseas because it was more labor intensive. Now we have work that is a combination of technology and robotics, and but that also needs the human element. And so all that is coming together that makes us competitive in the world market here. And it comes down to managing the workflow, managing the amount of work people do, and you know, people are getting more. A lot of times in machine shops, during the machine time, the time parts are running, there's not a lot to do for the machinist, so it becomes idle time. But then you can also have secondary operations for them at their machines, and it's a matter of rolling up a workstation right next to them, something that's already self-contained, to say, here, we need you to do the deburring on this. We need you to do, you know, even tapping, hole tapping. So yeah, and that's a small example of becoming more competitive because you're doing more hourly to that goes towards the completion of the job. So so it's better planning, better teaching skills to different people, and using the technology that's out there. Again, we can be competitive, and we don't have shipping costs that other people have to, and we can do things quickly, which is critical in a lot of things, especially aerospace. So,
yeah, I don't know if Charlie ever mentioned you, and I whenever I see Charlie, I talk about you and about what we're doing and what we're sharing and so forth and so on. But Charlie's a great. He really thinks highly of you. I'll put it that way. But you talked about responding quickly. You know, Boeing in Huntington Beach has a site we call it C13 is the number of the locations over in Huntington, right off of Bolsa, and it's a quick fix shop, and they have amazing capabilities there. I don't know if you've ever been to that shop. It's off of Gothard or something like that. It's not the main plant, but it's right over close to it in Huntington Beach.
Okay.
Well, there's a restaurant called My Place or something like that, and it's right across the street from there.
Yeah, I think it's Graham Street over there.
Oh, Graham, yes.
Yeah,
you're right.
And yeah, there is pretty amazing how that Boeing campus has been, you know, kind of diminished because of other companies coming in. But there's some great companies that moved in there too. So again, Huntington Beach has been, as you know, McDonnell Douglas before. So a lot of people came here in the 60s, late 50s and 60s to do the aerospace manufacturing for McDonnell Douglas, and then other companies who came to the area. Ford Aeroelectronics is over by Fashion Island area. So Orange County has been the home to a lot of that manufacturing. And so there's, you know, I think it makes good sense to bring it back here. The cost of doing business here is higher, but you have access to resources that you don't find in other places. And a lot of companies leave here to go to lower cost of doing business states, but they also find that they don't have the resources, the secondary resources available that are here everywhere. And
you, myself, and Charlie all agreed that whenever possible, keep a part in-house, because you offload it to, say, Mexico, Russia, China, wherever, and now you've got language barriers, technology barriers, time, distance. you name it, right? Maybe some
Right.
quality issues, process issues. And you lose the opportunity to get as much profit out of it as you can.
Right.
If you keep, and people also forget that even though we say, oh, we'll send it to Mexico or China and it'll be cheaper. But we forget, and you know it and I know it, Americans are the most efficient manufacturing people. They have the highest what do you call it, efficiency of any manual or person in manufacturing. They have the highest output. I know that sounds like it's mystical or there's no way that could be true, but it is true. They've done analysis, they've done studies, and Americans are the most efficient workers. So I say keep it in-house if you can, you know. And I know Boeing's looked at their core competencies and they said, we're good at designing and building airplanes. So we're going to offload fabrication, we're going to offload the stock rooms, we're going to offload logistics, all that stuff. And that's fine, but it deserves, like offloading all the parts deserves a second look. There was a time, and you probably remember it too, about 10 or 15 years ago when Seattle was having a hard time delivering airplanes because of parts shortages. They could not get parts. And if they'd only kept them in-house, they would have been clicking along down the track like a locomotive, you know?
Right.
But they were all goofed up and they were struggling badly. And anyway, there was at that point, we all in Long Beach said, well, we're the cash cow, you know, we're making money for the company. But you know how that works, you know, commercials profitable, then military's profitable. And but we were patting ourselves in the back there for a while.
Well, you guys had a tremendous operation there in Long Beach. It was really impressive. You know, I think I told you I took a tour with Charlie through there, and we saw the last C-17 being built, and so it was very impressive. You know, and then knowing, you know, everybody talks about manufacturing in California and how it's just too difficult, but then, you know, SpaceX is here, Boeing, you know, built the C-17s here. There's still a lot of Boeing work being done here, so it's you know, California, yes, high cost of doing business, but like you said, I think you know, I've heard stories about companies leaving and going to other places, and yes, low taxes and low cost of doing business, but the level of labor was less too, and there's just more of a manufacturing way of thinking here, and generations grow up. That's one thing that the labor secretary said, that it's good to be with a company for a long time, like you and Charlie, you were Boeing for a long time. That instead of jumping ship and going for, you know, a better job or a better opportunity, stay with the company, work through the company. And I think we may have talked about the company I still do work with, but they had second and third generation guys there at their facility up in Vernon, up in LA. They've since moved, but yeah, fathers and sons and grandfathers, you know, all work at the same place. So there's a lot to be said for that. And I think that mindset might be coming back, and we'll see. But I do know that younger people are looking at manufacturing, looking at learning skills. Junior colleges are helping. You know, they're offering classes to teach that, and I would bet that a lot of our peers maybe are getting involved with teaching at the junior college level, community college level, to pass the knowledge on and to help generate another manufacturing movement, I guess you could say.
Yes. You know, you mentioned manufacturing coming back, and there's a push to bring manufacturing back. And some people say, oh, well, that's going to take years and years. It may never happen. But Charlie was pointing this out the other day, just a couple of days ago, and I was talking with him. And he said, you know, a lot of shops have more capacity. All they got to do is add a shift or two shifts. They
Right.
go from one shift to two shifts to three shifts. They can do some pre and post overtime. They can
Mhm.
bring in a couple of machines quickly, et cetera, et cetera. Now that's a lot right there. But then
Right.
on top of that, today I just saw an article. My brother posted it, and he also worked on the C-17 program. And they're talking about Boeing's talking with people about potentially starting the program back up, which would be a huge undertaking. Lots of
Mhm.
tooling and talent and treasure, money, and it could be done. It would be very costly, but never say never.
Right.
And certainly it would be like a Beaver, a B model or something. It would be upgraded, maybe upgraded engines and maybe some control surfaces and landing gear, stuff like that.
Mhm.
But and certainly the black boxes and things like that would be upgraded, but in cockpit and so forth. But they're talking about it. The article looks legit. I just scanned through it today, and right away I shared it on Facebook. And
Oh, good.
my friend, even the naysayers are going, "Hey, good opportunity,"
Y-
So
y-
we'll see. We'll
A,
see.
a little side note, Tim. You're not on LinkedIn, right?
I am on LinkedIn.
Oh, you are. I couldn't find you. That's
Oh,
what
okay.
you should
If I,
post articles like that on LinkedIn.
Right, absolutely. If it's not
Yeah.
there, I will. I'll share that. And I need to share more of these videos on usually what I'll do, I'll post it on Facebook, well, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and X are four of the
Okay.
places that I put it. And it's I put it on my own YouTube, and then I also put it on the SME, Society of Manufacturing Engineering
Hmm.
um, if you'd ever be interested in joining us, I can send you the invitation for the meeting.
Okay.
We meet once a month, and it's for an hour. It's 1 hour. It's like 4 p.m. to 5
That'd be
p.m.
great. Yeah.
And I could send you the invite. You think you'd be
Sure.
interested? Maybe?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love that.
Okay, okay, yeah. We have some. Um, we have a good group. I think there's a total of 3 or 4 of us now. We had a couple more, but one guy has got a job lined up. I won't say with who or where, but
Hmm.
more will come out about that. He's got a special job lined up, going back to work. And the other one has a lot of family issues. He's sort of in the sandwich generation. He's got kids he's still caring for, and then he's got his parents. So he's sort of in between the two.
Yeah, that's a lot of responsibility. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, LinkedIn, you're right. We got to make sure that that gets out there. That's a good place. There's a lot of good stuff shows up on LinkedIn.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of. I've been on it for just 2007, and a lot of young people are on there now, and so it's a great place to share information, share knowledge.
Right.
Uh, yeah, it's a. I think as far as I don't really use any others, but I think that's probably the best place as far as finding or sharing information, manufacturing related.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah,
Yep, there's some good stuff on there.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think innovation is a that's something that is key for the manufacturing uh, rebirth, not rebirth, but just growth. And so that comes down to, and I will say this, I thought about this, as things grow, what skill is really needed is programming of CNC machines, which
Yes.
to do it right, you really should do the work um, on the machine or even manual machining first for a little bit, just to understand the processes. But there's great potential in learning programming. So anybody who is that engineering and problem solving, kind of a mindset, programming would be a huge benefit because it pays well and you're involved in all aspects of the process. So I would recommend that. But then again, learn the process first, hands on, and that gives you a benefit to understand how to program better. as well.
Right. Yeah, I remember I worked for a guy in engineering for a couple of years, a guy named Jerry Brine. He was very bright, and he was in charge of mechanical engineers. But he said he came from England, and he had to do an apprentice shop out on the floor as a machinist before he could get his engineering
Right.
degree. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he
Well,
knew what he was talking about.
yeah, that is the best way to learn, by actually getting involved with the process of understanding, how tools work, how cutting works, how all different processes work, on the material, on the metal, and studying metallurgy too, understanding the metals that you work with. There's so many exotic and different metals, alloys that come out. So understanding that gives you a leverage to growing in the industry.
Yes.
So
Yes.
there's a lot to learn, but a lot to grow. And I think the growth is going to be a long-term um, proposition that will, be able to build a career around.
Right.
So
Now,
it's a good time.
yes, I think we're in an exciting time, and
Right.
I think if we can survive a while, we'll look back in maybe a few years or 5 years and say, wow, this really was a beginning of a golden age, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
Jim, I wanted to ask you, do you still have the offer out on the table that you'd be willing to have people come if they want to volunteer to help you at your shop?
Sure.
You're still looking for
Well,
some
just to
help?
see what I'm doing, and I would
Yeah,
welcome
input.
their thoughts too, because what I'm developing here is something it's solving a problem that's been out there for a long time, as far as organization and shelving and customizing. Um, so yeah, I'd be interested to see what people think. But yeah, and also the other company where I'm working, consulting for the machine shop up in Placentia, that they're welcome to come up there. I've talked with the people there, and they'd love to show young people.
Oh, super, super.
Yeah, and
That's great.
that's 20 CNC machines and a lot of we specialize in landing gear parts for. Actually, we have a large contract doing C-17 repair parts, landing gear parts.
Wow.
So
What's the name of that company?
it's Auger Industries,
I'm sorry.
Auger
Auger
Industries.
Industries?
Yeah, in
Auger.
Placentia, AUGER Industries.
Okay. Cool. Well, that's great. Yeah. You know, there's all kinds of people that take these classes and start to look at these videos, and they
Hmm.
have all kinds of backgrounds. Last night in the class, there was probably maybe 25 or 30 students.
That's good.
And yeah, and these guys, I think they were working on their masters, and there was only one uh, person in there with a technical engineering degree. Everybody else had other undergraduates. We didn't really talk about the breakdown or anything, but there was
Right.
only one. There was one guy in there that had a mechanical engineering degree. But I told him, I said, don't lose heart. I said, there's places in all these businesses working in manufacturing operations for all kinds of people, all kinds of degrees, and you can still be you can get into the technical field, but you'll have to learn it. Or you could be a leader, you could be a manager, you could be
Hmm.
a team lead or a manager or a director, you name it. And they need
Hmm.
all kinds of people. And I said,
Right.
and I told them, I said, you guys just being in this classroom means that you got something on the ball. You're here,
Right.
you've already got a bachelor's degree, you're working on a master's, and you guys have what it takes already. Just got to
Right.
keep pushing.
Which to be at that level, you got to have work ethic, and
Yes.
they
Yes.
have the work ethic, to want to learn more.
Right.
So
Right.
yeah, and it's that takes a lot of effort to get to that level.
Yes. Yes.
So
I was going to ask you one more thing, Jim, and you don't have to spend much time on it, but I wanted to ask you one more thing about, you
sure.
mentioned something about a new machine you were getting. Can you talk about that for a few minutes?
Well, yeah, I've actually been using a company here in the complex to do it's CNC routing of of plywood that I use for my backboard material, or my backboard. And so I was knowing that I have to get a machine to go to the next level. And I was trying to figure out how I was going to get a new machine or find a used one. But the neighbor who was cutting said that he really needs a room in his shop. So we worked out a deal. And so we're going to move it over here Saturday. And that helps me be self-contained here for my product line. And so I'm really looking forward to that. But that is also a tool or a piece of equipment that opens up a lot of opportunities creatively. So, your students might like to see how that works, because it's a fairly, it's a very versatile machine, but it's also a very affordable machine. And so it kind of gets the creative wheels going as far as, and again, what it does, like AI, it combines, or it finds information for us that we would have to spend a lot of time ourselves trying to find it. Well, CNC basically does operations that you could do manually, but it makes you more efficient. It gets more done in less time. So, and again, CNC, that's computer numerical controls. They are computer. That's where programming comes in.
Right.
So it's taking the design or the end result desired and figuring out how you're going to program the machine to do it. So
Right.
yeah, it's a problem solving thing, and so it's just like a puzzle sometimes. But once you get the hang of it, it just becomes clearer and clearer how to get to the desired result.
Well, that's super. That's
So I'm
great.
really looking forward to it. Yeah, you have to come down and check it out sometime.
Yeah, I'd love to. And you're in Huntington, right?
Right, Huntington Beach.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
close to Beach and Warner area.
Oh, Beach and Warner. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. My brother lives right near there. He's right near he's Warner and Golden West.
Oh yeah, that's real close. So I'm in between. I'm actually closer to Gothard, which is right in the middle.
Oh, okay. You're over by whatchamacallit high school.
Ocean View.
Ocean View. Yeah.
Yeah.
My
Close to
youngest
there.
daughter went there. Ocean View. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's a cool area. Isn't Chip
It's a
Foose
great
over
area.
there?
Pardon
Isn't
me?
that where Chip Foose and his shop is over in that area?
No, he's actually, I think he's off of, yeah, he's somewhere close. If you go down Gothard, I think is where he
Okay.
is. Go
Okay.
south on Gothard, and then
Okay.
he's in an industrial complex over there.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a lot of cool stuff being done in Huntington Beach. So it's got a good creative streak in it, which
Yeah.
is good. It's nice.
Yeah, that's
Of
super.
course, it's a little bit cooler place to work in the summertime.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, about 10 degrees cooler than it is here in Anaheim.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Well, actually 15 sometimes, but
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Well, Jim, I can't thank you enough for your time, and again, really appreciate you sharing.
Oh, my
your
pleasure. Anytime.
wealth of knowledge, and I know that it's sort of an ongoing thing. And if we can we talk again?
Sure, absolutely. I'd love to. Love to.
Okay, before too long, because there's so much to talk about.
Right.
Sometime I'd like to, if we could, maybe spend however long it would take, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, talk more in depth about your business and what you're doing, your innovation, because
Right.
that is kind of what Manu Shah did. He, with that granite business that he did, the guy that gave the endowment to Chapman, he started with a low-tech business, but he added innovation and technology to a low-tech business, which is
Right.
Tabletops and granite and stuff like that.
Right.
As time went on, he just kept, he said, hey, my thing is, I don't have a goal to make $1 billion or $1 million. I just want to get better tomorrow than I am today. And with that attitude,
That's the attitude you need. You
Yes.
move forward. It might be small steps, might be baby steps, but at least you're moving forward. And then the more you do that, you build momentum, and then things move better. So
Yes.
yeah, you just have to move forward. And but I'd love to show people. Yeah, and what I'm doing is similar. It's just it's really it's showing basically, but it's
Yes.
very customizable, easy for people to put together. They can design their own systems. I provide different configurations for that. I actually I do have a website. It's rhythmsystem.com. And I use
Rhythmsystem.com.
Rhythm System because it helps keep your daily rhythm going. We
Oh,
hate,
that's cool.
yeah, we hate to have to stop and look for things. So I came up with the idea to avoid that. So everything is out in the open, and you customize it so you know where things are. And historically it's been hard to customize because the Home Depots and Lowe's, they have just the closet made type of systems, which aren't that they're not easy to put up. And once you put them up, you don't want to change them. My system, you can change it daily if you want. And so it allows the end customer to design it themselves, to order what they need, and it is patented, so that helps me move forward with it.
Right.
But yeah, it allows people to devise or design their own systems to make their own lives more efficient and keep the
Right.
rhythm going. So that's a
Yeah,
rhythm
that's
system.
super. That's
So yeah,
terrific.
yeah, love to talk more about that.
Great.
So
Okay, we will then. We'll talk again soon, and it's exciting. All this stuff is exciting, and I hope for the best for America and
yeah,
all these kids that are getting to see some of a little peek into our lives.
right. Yeah, and it's good to share. Good
Yes.
to share the knowledge.
Yes.
So
All right, Jim.
what you do is a great thing. Great idea.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I give a lot of credit to all the people that are participating, like yourself and Dr. Shukla, who kind of came up with the idea, and just very thankful. And Manu Shah, the guy that gave the money to Chapman, but I think
Good.
I think he was onto something when
Yeah,
they came up with this idea.
yeah, I think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, it's kind of like that guy, the Dirty Jobs guy, talking about
Mike Rowe. Yeah.
yeah, and talking about trades and going to school and learning plumbing or welding and you can make six figures pretty quickly.
You can
Yeah.
easily without college debt.
Without college debt and without chopping your fingers off or getting all diving into mud or something like that.
Right. And that note, machining always had an image of, it's a dirty, greasy business, but it's clean. I mean, some CNC shops are like operating rooms, and that the machines operate better in a clean environment, and so it's not a dirty job anymore. So
Right. Yeah. Well, Jim, thank you so much again, and God bless you, and thank you for all
likewise.
you do. And I look forward to talking to you again real soon. And I want to get over to your shop and check it out.
Anytime. I'm here all the time. So
okay.
Look forward to that.
We can get some of the students involved.
Yeah, love that.
Okay,
all right.
super.
Well, thank you, Tim.
All right, Jim.
Take care.
Thank you, sir.
See you.
Take care. You too.
Okay.